100 schools will close tomorrow. Emergency services and defence assets have been deployed. Families and communities are working to protect themselves and their properties, and some people are leaving the danger zones as southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales batten down for Tropical Cyclone Alfred.
Tropical Cyclone Alfred has begun its westerly trajectory towards the southeast Queensland coast, likely to make landfall on Friday morning. The system is currently analysed as a Category 2 tropical cyclone sitting over 400 kilometres to the east of Brisbane.
Queensland Premier David Crisafulli is overseeing the preparations.
Now's a great time to get to know your neighbours if you don't and talk to them about it. It's really important that people understand that the threat is real, be prepared, and to know that we are doing the work to be prepared as well, and we'll continue to do that.
As you saw there, he even had the Prime Minister by his side, with Anthony Albanese flying into the eye of the storm, so to speak, just days out, probably, from calling the federal election.
I was due to travel to Western Australia on Friday and Saturday, but chances are I intend to stay on the East Coast. NEMA is based in Canberra. That's a good place to monitor what is happening nationally.
Handy place to be if you're going to call the election too. It's hard to rationalise why the PM needed to be in Brisbane today, to be honest. Still, I guess he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. We will keep you up to date with all the latest on Cyclone Alfred here on Sky News, and I'll cross live to the coast later in the program. But now I want to hit back again at some of the climate alarmists. I want to call them out with some facts. Every time we face a natural disaster, the climate zealots seem to disregard the suffering and trauma confronting people and focus only on the political or ideological points they want to make. And they don't let the facts get in the way. Rather than dealing with nature and helping people, they're intent on exaggerating and even misrepresenting reality to pretend that these natural disasters are new or worse or unprecedented. And most nutty and dangerous of all, they pretend that political action can fix or prevent them. Here's the Climate Council today.
Why is this unusual? Climate pollution is making our atmosphere and our oceans way hotter. And these record-breaking ocean temperatures are supercharging powerful cyclones. A hotter atmosphere caused by climate change also means more moisture. And that means the extreme rain Tropical Cyclone Alfred brings will be heavier and more intense. And lastly, the coastal storm surges, flooding, and erosion will be much worse due to the 20-centimetre sea level rise in the region thanks to climate pollution.
And that was hot on the heels, as you know, of the Victorian Labor Premier I showed you yesterday.
We are seeing repeat extreme weather patterns that we've not seen the likes of which. You know, massive floods and storms and fires all happening almost simultaneously.
And then there's much of the media, of course. The Sydney Morning Herald ran alarmist nonsense about cyclones heading south being new and that soon they'll be heading for Sydney. Well, I showed you some better factual, historical reporting last night. I showed you the report that pointed out there was a deadly cyclone in southeast Queensland in the 1950s. And then there was more in the 60s, 70s and 90s too. So pretending this is in any way unprecedented is just plain wrong. In fact, all the evidence, all the scientific evidence, as detailed by none other than the IPCC, the International Panel on Climate Change, the United Nations body that publishes the scientific Bible on climate change, well, it shows that cyclones in Australia are on the decline. When you look at this section from the IPCC about observed changes in the weather, it says clearly that there has been a decline in tropical cyclone frequency near Australia. And again, in this section, it details there have been fewer tropical cyclones since 1982, with a 22% reduction in translation speed, that's the speed at which the storms move, over Australia since halfway through the last century. So there you go. Those are the facts. It doesn't make life any easier for those facing Cyclone Alfred right now because that threat, of course, is real and we'll stay on that. But the climate zealots should stop trading on that trauma, pretending this proves their political positions. And they most definitely should stop telling people that driving expensive electric cars or paying more for unreliable renewable electricity will somehow prevent natural disasters. It can't and it won't.